South California fire may have ejected incredibly dangerous radioactive particles into the atmosphere, Tyler Durden, Zero Hedge reports. The 95,000-acre Woolsey fire, which has coated Southern California in an apocalyptic orange glow, may have released a toxic stew of radioactive particles and toxic chemicals into the air after scorching the land on closed-down government weapons testing facility in Simi Hills, known to be heavily contaminated from decades of experiments. That's terrible news. Commencing operation in 1947 for Rockwell's Rocketdyne Division, a government contractor for the Atomic Energy Commission, the AEC, and Santa Susana Field Lab, SSFL, has a checkered safety record, and to put it lightly, in addition to several nuclear accidents, including the worst nuclear meltdown in U.S. history. Toxic materials have accumulated on site from years of dumping just miles from thousands of residents. It was the site of several nuclear accidents, including the worst nuclear meltdown in U.S. history, when in 1959 facility operators intentionally vented nuclear material from the site's sodium reactor experiment to prevent it from overheating and exploding. By the time the leaks were closed, the site had released 459 times more radiation than was leaked during the better-known 1979 meltdown at 3 Mile Island. That's off New York City. The lab property, now owned by airplane manufacturer Boeing, stretches for 2,800 acres in the Simi Hills and remains contaminated with toxic materials. Thousands of people live within just 2 miles of this site, and roughly 500,000 live within 10 miles, according to the investigation by NBC4 Los Angeles. California officials with the State Department of Toxic Substance Control said that as of Friday, November 9, an area of the SSFL site which was scorched by the Woolsey fire posed no danger, stating, quote, "Our scientists and toxicologists have reviewed information about the fire's location and do not believe the fire has caused any releases of hazardous materials that would pose a risk to people exposed to the smoke," unquote. A group of concerned physicians beg to differ. The physicians, that is doctors. According to Robert Dodge, a physician and president of Physicians for Social Responsibility Los Angeles, highly toxic materials embedded in SSFL soil and vegetation may have been spewed into the air by the Woolsey fire, he says. Quote, "We know that substances are on the site and how hazardous they are. We're talking about incredibly dangerous radionuclides and toxic chemicals such as trichloroethylene, perchlorate, dioxins, and heavy metals," end quote, said Judge, and he added, quote, "These toxic materials are in SSFL soil and vegetation, and when it burns and becomes airborne in smoke and ash, there is real possibility of heightening exposure for area residents," end quote. Weighing in with satellite imagery tells a similar two-sided story. The images show that the fires did spread to the compound, but they did not take down structures. With near-infrared imagery, the dense vegetation appears red, while burn scars from Woolsey fire contrast as dark brown. You can view the various images here in the article I'll leave below for you. Dodge's group has also criticized the California Department of Toxic Substance Control, pointing out that the state-run agency is currently under a state-mandated independent review to investigate its handling of toxic cleanups. According to a draft environmental statement from the Energy Department, Santa Susana Field Laboratory and its adjoining northern buffer zone has never been fully cleaned up. In 1998, an article of Los Angeles Magazine details horrific cancers and other conditions which have afflicted those living near and working at the site. Quote, "Children growing up near the site swam and fished in streams and played in the dry wash, and one day Gardner rode his red J.C. Higgins bike he got for Christmas through effluent flowing from the lab." Gardner, now 44 years old, lives in Simi Valley. He's an iron worker and he's done contract jobs at the lab over the years. In October 1996, he was diagnosed with lymphoma. His wife, Leslie, had her uterus removed because of cervical cancers. His father, like Gardner, an iron worker employed occasionally at the lab, has skin cancer and heart problems and is near death. His sister, Vicky, 46, has heart and thyroid problems. On one side of a single block of Ramara Avenue in Woodland Hills, 5 miles from the plant, cancer has been diagnosed in 9 out of the 10 houses. This is according to Los Angeles Magazine. Meanwhile, here's where the potentially toxic plume of smoke traveled as of November 9. We can see from the aerial photographs. National Weather Service, Las Vegas. Here's a look at the Woolsey fire in California as seen from the GOS 16 weather satellite this afternoon. Kindly support my Patreon account, since that's the only way I can continue what you like seeing on this channel. Thank you. You'll find it in the description box below.